when it comes to reporting season. We'll take you through all this and more in just a moment. But the big one is arguably Fortescue Metals. That is the one we're watching today, able to pay a record dividend. Half of this, or a huge increase in dividend from last year at least, most of this is to do with iron ore and the strength in iron ore, but also some of the supply issues we've been seeing, of course, across in Brazil. Let's get more. Pete McGuire from XM joins us in the studio. Peter, pleasure as always to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Ingrid. Good morning, Daniel.
Morning.
Obviously, we don't ask you for stock-specific news, but Fortescue, an iron ore player, no surprises to see it be a beneficiary in reporting season. What have you noticed about iron ore over the past 6 to 12 months?
I think one thing you've noticed is that China hasn't backed off as far as demand. So that really has increased the appetite out there, and we've played very favourably. And you made reference to that as far as Brazil. So we all understand Brazil is, from a coronavirus impact, South America, it's just been absolutely smashed.
Yeah.
And we've been able to take advantage, BHP, Fortescue and Rio are our big miners, to just ship as much as possible, nearly, and those numbers are just extraordinary. Great price. We're back at those, strong numbers, the 120s, the 130s per tonne. I think there's probably further upside there as far as price and demand.
Well, then from that perspective, we've seen resilience from all of the other commodities. They pulled back just a little bit in the Friday session. Are we expecting much choppiness from the aggregate commodity play coming up this week with all the data?
I still don't think anything out there really is showing any dramatic moves to give me conviction to say from a trade perspective. Copper's up, and that's not a bad one at the moment, Daniel. It's had a nice move, but some of those other base metals are a bit patchy. Crude's becoming even narrower as far as range bound, 42.5 to 45, nothing there. Gold, 1950. So that US dollar, I'm really watching that. I'm watching to see what happens with the Fed this week.
Yeah.
Where's the symposium? We're normally at Jackson Hole, but they're doing it online, 27, 28. And that may give us do we expect a bombshell? And I wouldn't be surprised some form of bombshell to come out. And I think it's too early to speculate, but I really think the Fed needs to take some big moves.
Right, so what would you be expecting then? Because, Jackson's Hole is almost always a market mover every year. This year, probably no different, even though it is virtual. So, what sort of news?
I think Trump's got to come out and say, from an employability aspect, maybe we've got to do very much what Lowe mentioned the other day here, start spending big time on infrastructure. The states needs it. And really the world needs it. So we're in a rebuilding phase. Cranes, underground railways, you name it, highways, to really get some stimulus, but to get the employability of people back on the market. So maybe that's got to be the number one agenda.
But that comes as we're still waiting to see whether or not this stimulus actually gets through in the US. Yeah. That's just unresolved at the present time. How critical are markets interpreting that non-event yet to actually drive markets?
Well, we've got till the end of August as far as that stimulus, because people have been getting that paycheck all the way through. So I'm sure that something will happen because there's a lot of hungry mouths out there to feed, quite simply.
Yep.
So I'm just letting that one be, I think, a work in progress. That'll come through sometime in the next matter of a week or so. The big picture, US dollar index, what's happening equity markets, they're still at record highs, and just the overall demand from, I think, even retail traders' perspectives.
Yeah, interesting, because we were talking a little earlier with Westpac's Imre Speiser. He was upgrading his forecast for the Aussie US dollar going forward, which, obviously means the US dollar continued weakness as far as he's concerned. Do you see it that way as well? 93.2. It's been choppy. We've had a big sell-off. When you think March, we're at 103 to the US dollar index. We're now at nearly 93. Had a low last week of about 92.5, 92.2. I think there's further softness there, but let's just see what happens with this symposium. That may be a changing of the guard a little bit, and we may see that US dollar bounce to the upside. So what impact it has as far as Aussie dollar, we're really at that, I think, an inflection point, and we've just got to see what happens from here.
Or at some of those critical junctions for the other currencies as well, with the pound sitting near $1.30. We've got the euro at 118 at the moment.
Yeah,
has the euro lost a little bit of its strength of recent times?
Well, it has a little bit, but remembering it's had a very, very strong rally, and as we saw, that US dollar massively sold off in that US dollar index. So for the viewer's standpoint, it makes up about approximately 60% of the weighting is euro US. So it's had a very big, strong move, and traders have been delighted, either shorting the dollar or very much, long euro, long our currency, long New Zealand dollar, and certainly the yen's been a favourite, and the pound. So, yeah, it's quite extraordinary what we've seen, Daniel.
quality conditions for traders, I guess you would assume, with all of the choppiness. That seems to be the way.
Well, clear breakouts and conviction trades, so people have been able to take advantage, but more importantly, profitability. They don't marry a trade. We've made reference to that before. You're in there for a matter of days or hours or weeks and not for years.
Absolutely. Pete, always fantastic having you join the Ausbiz program. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Daniel. Thanks, Ingrid.